Hey guys, this is Danny Boy. This is my Adept Insanity playthrough of the demo. I'm gonna show my build in a second and blah blah blah. So, this... I have to say I was pleasantly surprised with the Adept. I thought this would be far more difficult than it actually was, but it really wasn't that bad. I'm actually going to show you one of my deaths here. This is the #1 way in which I die, and this is why I mentioned I think the cover system's a little wonky. It'll happen in just a moment. Just wait for that grenade. Should be coming in just a second. There it is. So here's a grenade. It's like, oh shit, a grenade. Let me roll past this cover so I can get away from it. No, I don't want to freaking take cover. I want to roll past the cover and I die. That is by far the most frequent way in which I die in the demo. And I realize, yes, there's a key that allows you to more speedily do that. I do know the key now. And eventually I will get accustomed to using it to save myself. However, I just don't really feel like there's terribly great benefit to that function. It wasn't in Mass Effect 2. I never felt like, oh god, I really wish I had this thing. To use cover better or whatever. It's in all the times where you can take cover, that at least in the demo, I mean, there's absolutely no reason for you to ever take cover in that position where I died. There's no angle of fire. They're not going to be attacking from the huge abyss to the far right. I mean, there's no angle of fire in which you'll have to take cover from in that direction. So I wish that those locations just couldn't... You can't duck behind them. You can't take cover there. There's no reason to. It just gets you killed, so don't even allow players to do it. And then we don't run into instances where death happens like that. Because the vast majority of time I want to roll past cover and I take cover instead, especially when fleeing from grenades, and I just die instantly. So I just wanted to demonstrate that. But again, I was pleasantly surprised with the Adept. I keep forgetting that there's far more red bars, so I just had the Mass Effect 2 mentality of thinking the Adept isn't going to perform very well. Not that the Adept was... A lot of players moaned about the Adept and bitched about the Adept and complained, and that's why they added in Stasis. It was finally an ability that you could use on Insanity without having to whittle them down to the red bar first, where they were pretty useless anyway. But really, the Adept did the job just fine in Mass Effect 2. If you take advantage of Singularity, Swiss Army knife capabilities where it damages any defense, and much more so the fact that it chain staggers opponents. You know, slap it on a flamethrower guy, slap it on a non-mechanical boss or whatever, and it just chain staggers them repeatedly. And is really effective, even against Harbinger. Very effective, just like the drone. So as long as you do that and you chain cast Singularities and you whittle people down and you don't just use it as a hard control insofar as lifting people off the ground, it's very effective. And it's even more so in this because there's so many opportunities to use it against red bar enemies. I assume that in the full game there will also be just grunts that don't have armor, unlike Mass Effect 2 where everybody had some sort of defense. So definitely happy about that. The cooldowns were nowhere near as bad on the Adept as it was on the Sentinel, so I was able to cast abilities far more frequently, biotic abilities far more frequently, so that was fun. All in all, I did die a couple of times. Again, I think both instances was because of this stupid freaking cover system. I don't think there were any instances beyond that. But still, the Soldier was by far my easiest playthrough. By far my easiest playthrough. Probably followed by the Sentinel. Actually, it's a tough call between Sentinel and Adept. The Adept really performed very well. Overall, these turrets were a bit of a pain. I was able to... It was kind of hard to target above them. I didn't want to risk flanking them like I did on my Soldier. There's no speed reduction on this character. You know, there's no way to slow time. There's no way to prevent people from targeting you. And yes, I know that you can run between the turrets firing, but I was still very afraid that I was going to get flanked, and I just thought it was safer to stay where it was, and it worked fine. It was a little slow, but it worked well enough. It was difficult to, as I was mentioning, target over and above the turrets to hit the engineers behind, but I eventually managed to do it by just carefully trying to aim, really. And I was even able to, run out of cover and just screw with people, like right here. I mean, it is the last guy, so it's not really a threat, but still, not instantly dying outside of cover is always a good thing. I have to say I had a really good time on the Adept. It's a class that I didn't think I would enjoy, that I didn't really plan on playing, whereas now he's up there. He's pretty strategic. Again, I really love the drone, and the Singularity is a control ability like the drone. So we'll see how I enjoy the Engineer. I played him very briefly. I haven't done a full playthrough on him. but I'll talk about him more when we get to his actual gameplay. So yes, I rushed up here, and I'm just using the... I was afraid they were going to flank me on the left, but I'm just using the stairs as pseudo cover. Really, again, it definitely seems to be a great idea to just run up here as soon as possible and just control them if they prove to be an issue. They really don't flank you from the left, though, or from the stairs on the left, the bottom stairs. I did actually run into that a bit, but it really wasn't difficult to counteract because I had Singularity. And here's a grenade that I'm a little worried about, not sure where it landed. Got out of there in time. Liara just went down, and oh no, here comes the guys, but again, not a huge issue. Now that grenade was a bit of an issue, that kind of just ruined my plans. And I'm being attacked by somebody, I don't know who, but a heal sort of takes care of that. Take this guy down. There's somebody on my right, I believe, but they're not going after me. And then just take this guy down. Use a warp bomb from Liara. And another grenade. This is a great little alcove to hide in. They really can't attack you too terribly much, except for that one guy who's always on the right at the top of the stairs when you peek out. This area is just about clear at this point. This is actually a really fun run of the demo, especially this room. I love this room. I love the high ground. I love the fact that they come from the bottom with the jetpacks. That was really a oh snap moment for me. Like, that was really cool when I first saw it. It's just a really strategic room, and I really enjoy it. Very unique, at least as far as the demo's concerned. You really genuinely feel powerful on the Adept, I feel. Far more so than in Mass Effect 2. It feels like kind of a combination, run away, run away. Kind of surprised that didn't get me. Kind of like a cross between the Mass Effect 1's Adept, which was blatantly overpowered, and the Mass Effect... I mean, you were absolutely a god by the end of the game, even on Insanity in Mass Effect 1. Though then again, you were pretty much a god on pretty much all the characters, save maybe the Engineer and the Sentinel. But even then, I mean, it was cake. But in Mass Effect 2, you were far, far, far weaker. They were a little bit over-nerfed. So, I mean, I do understand players' complaints about the whole, at least on Insanity. Again, everything, absolutely everything I say is from an Insanity perspective. I never play on anything but Insanity. I never play on any of the lower difficulties. I have no idea how the game goes in the lower difficulties. I'm sure it's significantly easier. I do know that there are far fewer defenses. Enemies act stupider, or more stupid or whatever, and they don't use as powerful weapons or what have you. I think that's at least part of it. But beyond that, I don't know. So anything I say, I'm sure the Mass Effect 2's Adept was actually extremely powerful on lower difficulties, but on Insanity, he was nerfed because every opponent had some form of shields. So that's where I'm coming from. But again, you could still make use of Singularity and be very powerful, especially when Stasis was added. Stasis is great in Mass Effect 2. So here I'm using my Singularity to remove the shields from these guys, but it's not working, so... And then in a moment I'll try... Okay, I'll use Liara's, that always works, and hers works, so I don't know what that was about. If you cast it in front of them, does it only stagger them and not remove their shields? Does it have to be casted on their flanks or behind them or something? Wasn't really sure about that. Strange. I do know that these guys will probably be pretty easy to kill on characters with sniper rifles, which can be anyone, by the way. Anybody can use any weapon as far as I know. It's just weight is a factor, because they do have those eye slits in the shield so that they can actually see what they're doing. I imagine if you just pop a couple of shots through the eye slits, they'll go down immediately. They only have red bars, they don't have armor or anything. And if you get a shot through that slit, that's a guaranteed headshot. I mean, that's their eyes, so... Seeing how effective it is to fire blindly through smoke. Not really. Freaking grenade. And here's another time where, like, freaking hell, I want to roll past the cover. I don't want to take cover. I want to roll past the cover. It's so irritating. I do wish I had throw. I didn't spec into it. I wanted other things. I missed having throw. I hope throw does more damage in this game. I hope you can actually use it as not just a throw enemies off of cliffs or whatever, but as an actual offensive damage ability by really slamming people into walls and what have you. And again, on this pod integrity thing, very, very close to losing yet again. To the point that I just go all out eventually. It's these shield guys that are the problem. The Centurions take the longest to kill by far. Shut up, Morden. And more grenades. Yeah, I knew that was coming. Centurions have no qualms about shooting through their smoke, and they will take you down pretty quick. I couldn't peek out of cover for that terribly long. I feel like I'm playing a pretty aggressive Adept, though. I'm really using forward positioning. Not, except for the turret battle, I really didn't hunker just straight in the back for huge periods of time. I mean, I did to an extent. It is a bit of a habit on artillery characters like this, control characters like this. There's that. But I feel like I, you know, got out of cover a good amount, even when it was just the last enemy. Die. There we go. We should be coming to the boss. I actually cut the boss battle in half. You'll see why in a second. As I mentioned in a previous video, perhaps the last one or the one before or whatever, I also had trouble here. This was one of my only other deaths, and it was again because of cover and just stupidity and whatever. But as I thought, Singularity not terribly useful in this fight, at least to get, well, I mean, it's useful right here, but not so much against the actual Atlas mech. It doesn't slow him down. It might act as, it might reduce shields by an amount and armor, but it wasn't, I mean, it wasn't very noticeable. Granted, again, it's kind of hard to tell on him because his shield is so absolutely massive. But I had absolutely no trouble killing him, and you'll see why in a bit. I got quite lucky on this one. Then again, though, I doubt I would have had any more trouble than my Sentinel. I mean, this character, beyond just having the weaker shield, just, you know, uses warp and whatever. And he was certainly easier to kill on the Adept and the Vanguard, just out of the sheer fact that I had warp. And you'll see in a moment, I'm thinking, okay, what's he doing? He's over here. Okay, well, this is convenient. I guess he's shooting at Liara. I'm not sure who he's shooting at, but certainly not I. So yes, I continue doing this for the next 30 seconds or so until I run out of mana. Haha! Run out of ammo on the Matak, and I will be just skipping through about half the fight. This continues for a solid 2 or 3 minutes, so I didn't think you wanted to see that over much. And here we go, switching to the Tempest, by the way. I have since remembered, actually looked it up, Tempest. So I used the Tempest for a while. I literally ran out of ammo of pretty much everything but the shotgun at this point. Do I not have warp ammo on the pistol? I must have forgotten to use it, that's unfortunate. And yeah, just ran out of ammo on the pistol as well. So, you know what? Last 2 shots on the Matak, and screw the Tempest. Let's just see if I can shotgun him in the back and see if he'll still not turn around and kill me. And yes, he still is not turning around to kill me. Have to say this was my easiest go at this. Kind of boring though, but I guess sometimes you just get lucky. Alright guys, thanks for watching, stay tuned for more videos, and have a good one.